How did James Wood look in his debut? Find out next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FPT in 5 on Tuesday, July 2nd. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and James Wood in his debut batting 6th for the Nationals. Went 1 for 4 with a walk. His only hit, 106.7 exit velocity. Obviously, we don't want to react too much to just one game, Scott, but what did you see here from James Wood in his debut?
Yeah, like you said, the one hit he got was hit hard, and that is his MO. His average exit velocity at AAA was outdone only by 3 players at the major league level, and 2 of them are Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. So James Wood is capable of hitting the ball very hard. But what's also kind of a microcosm of his whole profile is that of his 3 batted balls, only 1 had a positive launch angle, and it was only 5 degrees, and that was the single. The other 2 basically hit it right in the dirt, and he did have a very high ground ball rate, a low fly ball rate at AAA, which may undermine his power production here, at least at this early stage of his career, for as hard as he is capable of hitting the ball. It is just one game, so not any predictive quality to it, but just emblematic this game was in a number of ways.
Last thing I'll add on James Wood, we had a few opportunities to see him run. The athleticism is absolutely there. Long legs, long strides. I think there's legitimate speed in the profile there with James Wood. Let's talk about another speedy player. Brenton Doyle had a big game on Monday, 3 for 4 with 2 socks and a shoe. That's 2 homers and 1 steal. He is up to 9 homers, 20 steals on the season, 48 runs scored. Scott, are you buying the Brenton Doyle breakout this season? About 3 months in, so.
Yeah, pretty much. He did have a bad June, so you could understand people being turned off by that. Hit 223 for June, but here he is starting July with a huge game, 19-point game, according to standard CBS head-to-head scoring, 19-point game. And even though he had a bad June, Brenton Doyle, his strikeout rate has remained much improved from last year. 25.5%. It was 35% last year. So it's still a guy who strikes out a lot, but not a crazy high amount. And he ranks among the league leaders in stolen bases with 20. He's got some pop. He plays half his games, the most hitter-friendly venue. Unsurprisingly, his road numbers aren't very good, so you might need to be a little choosy about when you use Brenton Doyle. But when he's at home, he's well worth using.
Let's take a look at some pitching standouts from Monday's action. Hunter Brown continues to dominate. He was at the Blue Jays where he threw 6 shutout innings with 5 strikeouts. The other name, MacKenzie Gore, up against the Mets, 5 2/3, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, had 21 whiffs on 104 pitches. Should have mentioned this with Hunter Brown, by the way. Last 8 starts, a 1.29 ERA, a .88 whip. Scott, who do you like more rest of season, Hunter Brown, MacKenzie Gore?
Well, I like Hunter Brown more rest of season. I think he's going to get some more support. I think he's going to work deeper into games. The big issue with MacKenzie Gore is 6 of his last 7 starts, less than 6 innings, including this one. And it's hard to be impactful in fantasy when you can't go 6 innings consistently. But there are things to like and things not to like about both of these pitchers. Hunter Brown, I feel like he turned his season around by fading his 4-seam fastball and mixing in other pitches, which in turn made the 4-seamer more effective, made it a good whiff pitch throughout June. But last 2 starts, he's back to throwing it more like 40% of the time. And in fact, in this start, he threw it and his sinker, his 2 fastballs, a combined 76% of the time, didn't leave much for the other pitches. He got only 8 whiffs on the 99 pitches. It worked out fine against the Blue Jays lineup. I don't know that I want to see it become a trend for Hunter Brown, but it is something he's kind of reverted to in his last couple starts here. So worth keeping an eye on. And MacKenzie Gore, he seems to be at his best when his 4-seamer is a whiff pitch. It was responsible for 13 of his 21 whiffs in this one. And a couple turns ago against the Marlins, it was probably his best start of the season. He had 25 total whiffs, mostly on the 4-seamer. But it comes and goes. I don't know if it has to do with location, how well if he's spotting it in the right parts of the zone. That would be my guess for MacKenzie Gore. When that fastball is working, when it's getting whiffs, that's when he's at his best. And shows a lot of strikeout upside in those games. It just isn't so consistent. I think in some ways this was even more encouraging than the Marlins start, though, because it came against a Mets lineup that has just been ridiculous lately, and they beat up on basically every reliever that followed MacKenzie Gore in this game. So that bonus points for having this kind of start against that lineup.
All right, for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.